after a few weeks or a couple weeks here of everybody saying the Patriots prioritize culture and they don't want to surround Drake Maye with anybody that might make his life a little bit difficult in year 2, they're hosting Stefon Diggs, who's a known thorn in the side of quarterbacks. Can you explain the Stefon Diggs situation to me?
Sure. And I think we all experience this. There's hopes of what will unfold, and then there's things you're willing to tolerate. I think that in the case of a Diggs, it's probably where you would say, well, we didn't get our Eagle Scout, and this is not to contrive, Stefon Diggs to be the second coming of Ray Caruth. I mean, the guy is a pain in the ass in multiple places. So you have to decide, okay, is it better to have nobody at all and walk into the season with Kayshon Boutte, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, and Kendrick Bourne as the top of our outside receiver group? Or is it better for us to go ahead and try and address it with someone and keep our fingers crossed? So to me, it's a sliding scale of what you're willing to tolerate from a player and the production that he'll give you. If Diggs was making $24 million a year and you anticipated he would be a pain in the posterior, you might say, we can't pay somebody that kind of money and have him be a detriment. If it's less, then maybe you can do it. There's no simple black and white conversations on all of this.
Tom, so we were then wondering if what exactly how you get a guy like Diggs in there. Like, some believe it may just be the Patriots wanting to answer to the fans. Oh, look, we kicked the tires on our number one guy, and Diggs is right.
He's laughing at you.
I know. He's not laughing at me. He's laughing at
I'm not laughing at him. It's just, I just think people
kowtowing to the fans, basically.
Hey, let's get a plane ticket for Stefon Diggs so that the guy in Bill Ricker who's pissed off feels better today.
Yeah, and then he's got to pay his own way at Davio's and all that. Right? It's nuts. And could Diggs trying to fluff up his market? But then Andy and I were wondering, is there a chance the Patriots are afraid that Drake Maye is either too nice, too deferential, or potentially a little too soft, such that any wide receiver prone to histrionics or diva-like behavior could influence him in a negative way or suppress his growth?
I don't think so. I don't think that they think that. I think you just want to create the best possible atmosphere around a player, and they certainly didn't have that last year, and the kid weathered the storm pretty well. I mean, he had pains in the ass all over the offense. I mean, so to me, I look at it, I think people are making it more complicated than necessary. Did the Patriots want to have the best teammates possible for Drake Maye, who would nod and say, whatever you say, Drake, and here's the things that I can do on this play for you, Drake, and maybe if you try it this way, Drake? Yes, they wanted to do that. But now, with $92 million still in cap money, I mean, they have $30 million ahead of everybody else. They still don't have a wideout. They still don't have a left tackle. They have to say, well, what are we going to do? Stand here and try and get every single guy nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year? Or are we going to try and just win some games? And if the guy's a pain in the ass, we'll tell him he's being a pain in the ass. I think that having Josh McDaniels on the offensive side of the ball, and Doug Marrone, I would think too, Teddy, would be helpful. I mean, those are big personalities who've been head coaches. I think it can help.
Oh no, that's a good point. That definitely would help. I'm curious, Tom, what you think about David Andrews being released. A lot of fallout from that. A lot of people critical of that decision. But the Patriots signed a couple days ago the former center for the Vikings, Garrett Bradbury. Your thoughts on just them feeling like they needed to upgrade at that position with that particular player?
When you look at his metrics from last year, according to Pro Football Focus, he let up a lot of heat on the inside, let up a lot of pressures. But they wanted to get younger, and in doing so, I think they made a commitment to getting younger and healthier and more dependable at the position. They chased Drew Dahlman. There was another center they chased as well. They didn't land. But really with David, I think they looked at the situation and said, would it be fair to him to go chase Drew Dahlman or Garrett Bradbury or any other center and let this 8-year veteran, or longer than that, veteran, 8-year captain.
Yeah, 10 years, yep.
But find out that we're chasing other guys to put into his spot. So they made that decision. But I think that just as with Stefon Diggs, he's not Chris Godwin. Garrett Bradbury is not Drew Dahlman. So they're settling in positions and pivoting away from spots that, they didn't get the guy necessarily who was their first choice, which is, as Vrabel pointed out, it's going to be a fact of life when all 32 teams are chasing a small pool of candidates.
Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston, joining us here on WEEI Afternoons, as he does every Thursday. Tom, the Joe Milton trade speculation, rumors, reports, where do we think that's at? Do you think there is a chance they do move Joe Milton this offseason? And if so, why? Is it just value-based, or is it Ted's theory that maybe he puts unnecessary stress and pressure on Drake Maye?
I definitely think there's a chance they move him, A. B, if Drake Maye is looking at, and I'm not discounting Ted's theory, but if Drake Maye is looking at Joe Milton as somebody who's about to swoop in and take his job, then he does not have the mental fortitude that I think he does. And I do think he has that kind of mental fortitude. He's got to be able to look at Joe Milton and say, I'm a better player than him. I'm more decisive. I actually move more quickly. I'm smoother in the pocket. And I'm only basing Joe Milton. God, who knows how he would have looked after 13 starts. But I think the Patriots would move him because they could get a pick that's in excess of the sixth rounder they spent on him. It was a really interesting theory from Phil today when we did the podcast with Brian Hoyer and talked about this possibility. Phil said that he had someone in the league mention to him that it might be hard to get a third for Joe Milton simply based on the fact that every single GM in the league passed on him in the first through fifth rounds last year. And then a year later, they're going to go, yeah, we're going to give up a third for this guy. Yeah, we all screwed up. Sorry, Mr. Owner. It's really interesting when you think of that level of, because they're probably still hardwired to say, yeah, he's not that good.
Tom, I just want to follow up on this real quick, buddy, because, I heard what Brian Hoyer said about Joe Milton. And just to remind people, Hoyer thinks that he would be the first quarterback taken in this year's draft. I unfortunately didn't get to listen long enough to know what your response was to that. Just your thoughts to Brian Hoyer saying he thinks Joe Milton would have been the first quarterback taken in this year's draft if he came out this year.
I don't think it's a fair fight. I don't think it's a fair comparison because you have a guy who's done it as a profession for a calendar year against guys who've not done it. The better comp would be tell me where Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Jalen Milroe are in a year's time, and whether or not you would trade Joe Milton for any of those guys.
Gotcha.
So to me, when you're doing it as a pro, and I get his point, absolutely, but would Joe Milton, as he was at Tennessee, take away what happened in 2024 for the entire year? Would Joe Milton still be a sixth-round pick if he was in this draft? Maybe. And also, did everybody miss on Joe Milton? Or did he improve? And I definitely think he improved. History will show that Alex Van Pelt didn't do a great job with the Patriots, but history should also deep down remember that he did a tremendous job with developing Milton and Maye in particular.
So, Tom, the last hot button issue we didn't touch on, we're getting later in the process here. My guy Will Campbell still has short arms and small hands and
hasn't changed. Same
would
metrics.
Never be drafted by Ted Johnson. Where are they going to get a left tackle who makes everybody feel good about the line and the offense and the chances this season?
Second round.
Oh,
take the Ursary kid. Take the Ursary kid.
Just the way, the kid from Oregon too. I think it was Connerly. Phil had mentioned yesterday, and he did a pod, and I lean on Phil because he's tremendous. He did one of his 38 mock drafts, and in this one, it's Travis Hunter at 4 because two quarterbacks go in the top 4, which is what is seeming to be the case. The Giants, Titans, and Browns are all in the market. You could get 2 out of 3. Next thing you know, you're standing there with Travis Hunter in front of you. If that's the case, you hold your breath, cross your fingers, and probably take the guy who can score touchdowns, even though he's never been a devoted offensive player. And then hope that he'll be happy to play offense for you, and hope that he'll be quick on the uptake and be able to play over there for you. And then you worry about left tackle later on. I hate it. I loathe it. I think the Patriots have been held hostage by that position for so long. It should have been fixed last year. But Elliott Wolf was unable to do it. But I still would probably say, you have to take Hunter there at 4 and then figure out a way to get back up and get a Membu, or Josh Simmons, or Connerly, or even a Will Campbell be sitting there. God knows, he might be sitting there till 16 with those stubby little arms.
Stubby little arms. Well, then go get your boy Myers. We need to bring your guy Myers back then, Tom.
Agree.
All right, Tom, we won't hold you up any longer. I know you want to get to the golf course.